So prevention starts from earlier on. When it comes to chronic diseases, which is the main problem within the Black population.
Yeah.
You stopping to eat whatever you know that your family history is vulnerable to.
Okay.
Stopping 2 years before you're 60 is not going to really do a big deal. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Sure.
But if you start when you're 30 or 40, the odds of reversing those vulnerabilities is actually greater. And also, when we look at the history, of the Black population that comes from the South, there's a history of slavery, there's a history of trauma, and at the molecular level, when we experience certain trauma, it leaves prints on our DNA.
Wow.
That can stay up to 3 generations.
Oh my word!
It is reversible by changes in lifestyle and conscious preventative measures or interventions, but basically, every child that is born within this context is born already with vulnerabilities to chronic diseases, obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, immune diseases, cancer. So just being born, you come with all this baggage, molecular baggage that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Life can be fast-paced, strenuous, and flat-out overwhelming. Life transitions and taboo topics can make it hard to catch your breath. Welcome to Breathe, a podcast that enables you to slow down, get your bearings, and engage in real conversations where no topic is off limits. Breathe is presented by Breath of Life, hosted by David Person and speaker-director Pastor Debleaire Snell.
Welcome to Breathe. I'm David Person here with my brothers, Pastor Snell, Pastor Nugent.
And
let's
come on. There we go. We can't leave her out.
You feel left out.
We're excited. We're excited you're here. Absolutely.
And we are joined today. We're happy to say we were joined with by Dr. Marie Claire Boutrin.
You tried it. You went for it, Dave. You went for it.
Come on.
I took the lead.
You took the lead. I like it. Took the lead.
Dr. Boutrin, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Very glad you could be with us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we know you are here today because something very interesting is happening in North Alabama. You are the leader of a project that is looking at what is being called the Black Longevity Study. It is a look at aging in this area and how perhaps there's something unusual happening here in terms of the longevity of the lives, right?
That's correct. I am the principal investigator for the Black Longevity Study, and it's not just me. We have a team. We have dietitians, we have nurse practitioners, we have MDs, we have sociologists, we have educators on the team. So I'm just there representing the entire team.
Nice.
And you are doing this in conjunction with Oakwood University, our alma mater, right?
Yes. Yeah, I work at Oakwood University in the biological sciences department where I teach, I do research.
Yes.
And that's one of the projects that I'm leading right now.
Beautiful. I'm so excited about this, Pastor Snell.
Good.
Yeah, so we're grateful that you were able to carve out a little time to be with us today. And even though this study is concentrated here in Huntsville, it has implications for all over, as many of you are watching us from other locations. But can you just tell us, what was the origin or the genesis? What was the catalyst for this particular project or study on the longevity in the African American community?
Yes, actually, this is very important. The way that we came about doing this study is that, the public health data shows that in America, we have a huge disparity when it comes to longevity between the white ethnic group and the Black ethnic group. It goes as far as 5 to 10 years. Wow. Basically, difference in the expectancy.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, men, which is the worst actually of the Black, within the Black community, they die about age 72.8 years old.
Wow.
Whereas the white female might live up to be 80 or more. So there's a huge disparity.
Yeah.
And actually, we live, in Alabama where we live, it's actually the fourth worst state when it comes to life expectancy, which means that when you start at the bottom, we have the fourth coming up.
Yeah.
And then, so it's really bad. It's really bad here.
Are all those states southern states generally?
Well, I think Mississippi is the worst.
Yeah.
And then, Alabama is not far behind.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that it's really relevant here, and that's why we really wanted to do something. But what was really puzzling to us is that even though we expect all these, basically disparity in the Black population, we have noticed that there is a cluster of Black seniors that actually exceed that life expectancy, and they live to be 85 years old and older, which is considered in the belonging to the longevity group.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we thought, okay, something is interesting here because that's out of the norm. So what are they doing that we don't know about that could contribute to actually benefiting the rest of the Black population? So that's why we created this study to actually go around identifying those seniors and asking them about daily things that they've been doing to see if we can identify any factors that contribute to the life expectancy.
Dr. Boutrin, if I can interject something here, I know that in the Black Seventh-day Adventist community, and in the Seventh-day Adventist community writ large, many of us are familiar with the concept of blue zones. And so we tend to take, as Seventh-day Adventists, we tend to take a particular pride in the fact that the blue zone communities, the most prominent blue zone communities in the United States, are concentrated with Seventh-day Adventists. But in this particular study that you're overseeing, my understanding is that you're looking even outside of the Seventh-day Adventist community and discovering that there are people who are not Seventh-day Adventists, who are not living the Seventh-day Adventist lifestyle, who also fall into this category of having unusual longevity, right?
That is correct. Yeah, this is slightly different from the Adventist health studies. This is not just Adventist people. This is actually a public health study.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a whole, it's a blown out public health. So it's for Huntsville and 25 miles outside of Huntsville. So we are catching all those people regardless of religious affiliation or, basically it's for everybody, all the Black residents in Huntsville. And it is true, we have found people that also have exceptional longevity outside of the Seventh-day Adventist religious affiliation.
Okay.
So I know in our community, we tend to attribute the longevity of our people to things like vegetarianism or veganism and not smoking, not drinking as a general rule. And
certain lifestyle practices.
Yeah, lifestyle practices.
Yeah.
Are you finding the same thing to be true outside of the Seventh-day Adventist community?
What I have found interesting so far is that even though they are not Seventh-day Adventists, they believe in God.
Okay.
And when I look,
so a belief in God is a commonality.
Yes.
Okay.
And it may be the same God as we view as Adventists, but it can also be their God. But most of them are Christians by affiliation, yes, and they have a very positive mindset. When we ask them, when we do the mental health questionnaire, they all score similarly the same.
Gotcha.
And also when it comes to about having a relationship with God, they also score the same.
Interesting.
Another thing might be about dietary practices, not on the nature of it, like the components of the diet, like with the vegetarians or not, but they seem to have 2 meals a day.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, this is just based on observation. Okay. When I fill the questionnaires, when I enter the data, I said, oh, this is interesting.
Now, is this something that when you see the 2 meals a day, is that something they made a decision to do, or was it just a rhythm they developed as they aged?
That is a good question. I don't know how they used to eat maybe when they were 20 or 30, but right now, this is what they do. And some of them, maybe it's just because of the way they are now. They wake up earlier in the day, and it might take them a longer time to get food ready. And then by the time they get settled, it's already kind of brunch time.
Sure.
And then at night, so it might be a combination of life, change in the rhythm of life, and also just at home doing things.
You
have to do the morning run with the kids and go grocery shopping and doing stuff like the 20 or 40-year-old people do.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. So what has been the most surprising thing that you've seen in your early gathering of this data?
So this is very early because we're not done yet.
Sure, yeah.
But I was, these 2 meal occurrence a day, I didn't expect that.
Okay, that was been, okay.
Yeah. I know that part of kind of the advice for health that the Adventist Church has, includes 2 meals a day. I didn't expect other Black seniors outside of Adventism to actually do that.
Okay.
And also the religious component. Like every time I interview one of them, the joy, the peace that kind of pours out of them.
Wow.
Is encouraging to me. I thought that I would be there to just learn more about them, and every time I go I leave really blessed and fulfilled because it just pours out of them.
Wow.
The belief, the joy, the peace they have because of the religious,
So it pays to serve the Lord. Is kind of what I hear you say.
Yeah. And also, we also look at life experiences.
Okay.
In the question, in the survey, and in spite of what we have been through, that relationship we've got, it seems like it just calms everything down.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a measure of peace that perhaps cumulatively adds to longevity over the years. So so who are you targeting for this study specifically? Like at what age group does it begin as you're gathering your information and data?
So I would say we start at 85 years old.
At 85.
And if you're 84, you're too young.
You're too young. There's probably very few things that an 84-year-old
There you go.
disqualifies them because they're too young. Okay.
84, too young. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So 85, and it can be. We are ending the study end of April. So even if you turn 85 on the last day of April, you're still eligible to take the survey.
Okay.
But if you're 84. After April, you're still too young.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Too young. Wow.
So if somebody they live here in North Alabama, and they are 85 years old, African American, person of African descent, how would they contact you if they were interested in being a part of the study?
Yeah.
So we have a phone number. It's 256-326-5243.
Okay.
And we have an email address. It's blackstudyproject in one word. blackstudyproject@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure that these details are added to the description of the video, where they'll be able to watch it and where they'll be able to listen to it as well. And we'll try and put some of that information on screen as well.
And you said the study ends when? April?
April.
When in April?
At the end of April.
Oh, the end of April.
Yes.
Last day.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got about a month left.
Okay.
Before it ends.
Yeah. When this aired. Yeah.
Yes. So So they have to be 85 years old or older. They have to be non-Hispanic Black, and they have to be living in Huntsville or Greater Huntsville for at least 3 years.
Okay.
So we go 25 miles outside of Huntsville as well. So Decatur, Owens, Crossroads.
Okay.
We go far out.
Okay.
East Limestone.
Oh. Yes, and I forgot, they get $25 cash on the spot.
Come on.
Okay. All right.
A little bit of incentive.
All right. A little bit of incentive. That works.
Yeah.
Every little bit counts.
Yes, it
Every
does.
little bit counts.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you this. So after you're done gathering this information at the end of April, what's the result of the project? You've gathered this information, you've kind of been able to see these trends, these emerging practices, so on and so forth. What's the next step? How does this project impact the larger culture?
Yeah, so we've already presented this, the prospect of this study at the American Public Health Association in the annual meetings that was done last year. But once we get the entire findings, the entire data set, we plan to publish in scientific journal, clinical journals. We plan to go back to media outlets, TV, and go back to the churches where we have actually interviewed participants.
Okay.
We plan to go in the community to basically bring awareness on what we found, and we want to also talk to the doctors, the nurses, because right now what we have found is that there's not been a study done like that here, in the past, previously. So as far as we know, this is the first one.
Really? Okay.
And, there's a general understanding on how to address disparities affecting the Black population, but we don't know how to do it in this particular city, this particular region.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, and this is the South, the South is different than New York or, the other regions. So we have to be very relevant to the community that we are trying to serve. So the entire goal, the purpose is to actually bring down these disparities. So how do we do that? We bring awareness, we educate, and we also trying to change the policies that affect healthcare and, treatment, prevention, strategies for the Black population.
Okay.
Nice, man.
So I know we're kind of I'm throwing this at you, but let's just say you're talking to some young people that are 68 and 72 and 84 or maybe 54.
They're happy right now.
Right.
They're very happy right now.
The minors, in this conversation. What would you say? Just you talked about just 2 meals a day. You talked about just kind of having a spiritual outlook that may show up in optimism or more a more positive, kind of view of life, and just even life's inequities or the different things that happen that are unfair. What would you add as just some general practices of longevity that just add wellness, increase the likelihood of you having a long and fruitful life?
So I would say prevention is a big word. How do we apply prevention? Well, if we look, prevention starts from earlier on. When it comes to chronic diseases, which is the main problem within the Black population, you stopping to eat whatever you know that your family history is vulnerable to.
Okay.
Stopping 2 years before you're 60 is not going to really do a big deal. It's better than nothing.
Sure.
But if you start when you're 30 or 40, the odds of reversing those vulnerabilities is actually greater. And also, when we look at the history, of the Black population that comes from the South, there's a history of slavery, there's a history of trauma, and at the molecular level, when we experience certain trauma, it leaves prints on our DNA.
Wow.
That can stay up to 3 generations.
Oh my word.
It is reversible by changes in lifestyle and conscious preventative measures or interventions, but basically every child that is born within this context is born already with vulnerabilities to chronic diseases, obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, immune diseases, cancer. So just being born, you come with all this baggage, molecular baggage that you're not even aware of. So in this context, prevention is very key because the earlier we start these strategies to actually combat those DNA prints and trying to reverse them, the better we equip ourselves for longevity and healthy aging.
Yeah. So would you say it's important for families to discuss, I guess, medical history? Because I just don't know how many people are sitting around the dinner table at Thanksgiving or Christmas and saying, well, hypertension tends to be, in
our family.
Everybody tends to operate in their own medical silo and not really discuss that. Do you feel like it's important for parents or grandparents to really say, this could be what's coming, or this is what generally has affected our family?
I think that it's crucial. It's very important because of those consequences, and also you don't know how bad it can get unless you know where, how it was before.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's too late when you're 60 to actually say, oh, Mom, by the way, did anybody die in the family of cancer?
Right.
Because, you could have changed that trend from when you were 20. And actually, when I interview some of the participants, I found out that when I ask those questions, medical history, when I ask about your grandparents or your great-grandparents, they said, no, they just died, we don't know of what.
Right.
Wow.
So, but that's also the context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we didn't have access to healthcare like we have now. So all this, but now that we have those opportunities, we should really take care of them and make a difference in our lives.
Wow.
Big.
Okay.
Dr. Boutrin, this has been a fascinating discussion, and I just want to quickly, as we're closing out, reinforce something you said. I know that in many cases we think about people being predisposed to certain kinds of behaviors for social reasons. But you're telling us as a biologist there are also cellular reasons
Wow.
and chromosomal reasons why we have certain predispositions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is worthy,
It is.
Pastor, of
It
a
is.
whole nother
Conversation. I agree with you. Yeah. It's
down.
indifferent. Because I think we tend to assume that everybody just comes with a clean bill
Yeah.
and that most things are learned or picked up along the way, not realizing that on a molecular level,
My word.
like those things are already, you're kind of already behind the 8 ball to a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
If
right.
I had money, this would be my next study.
Wow. Okay.
So we're going to pray the Lord open up a door.
Yeah.
To resources,
Provide that money.
because I feel like that would help a lot of people. It would clarify a lot of things for people, because I do think you have some people who tend to be a little superstitious with some of these things, and feel like maybe I'm cursed. Or just, Well, no, you weren't cursed, but they're just genetic realities that affect all the descendants of Adam a little bit differently.
Right.
And even when you talked about even how the traumas
Yes.
of life
about that.
last multiple generations, that informs my thinking and gives a whole lot of insight on certain behaviors that we say, man, why are black people like this? This, that, and third. Well, no, if you disconnect it from the generational traumas that our people have been subjected to, we actually do ourselves a disservice to not even acknowledge that as a part of our reality and experience.
That's right.
My goodness. My goodness.
Lot to think about.
Lot to think about. This was a good episode.
We appreciate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You're
Doctor.
welcome.
We appreciate you.
Where can people find you online, or maybe you have a social media handle, or
Yes. So we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And it's called Black Longevity Study Project.
Okay.
And we have all the information, the flyer. We have a flyer for the study. So all the information is there. And otherwise, for those that know me, on the Oakwood campus, they can come and send me an email, come and call me. But usually the number for the participants is 256-326-5243.
Excellent.
Okay. One more time, 256-326?
Yes, 5243.
5243.
That's good.
Telephone number that any of you can call.
That's right.
And also you can go to the Facebook page for the Black Longevity Project.
Study
Study Project.
Yeah.
Black Longevity Study Project.
That's right.
Lot to think about.
Yeah.
Dr. Boutrin, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You've got your marching orders. Consider this study. Consider being a participant. Certainly follow it, because the implications can be rich for all of us. Let's stop. Pray. And breathe.
Breathe is produced by David Person for Breath of Life. Executive producer is Debleaire Snell, and sound engineer is Kirk Nugent. Audio episodes of Breathe can be found on Apple, Spotify, or Google podcast platforms. For video episodes and extra content, check out the Breath of Life YouTube channel. Breath of Life is faith-based content, resources, and programs from a contemporary urban perspective for those looking for hope and guidance. We believe that every breath we take is a testimony that God is consistent, that He loves us, and has a plan for our lives.